This is Nick Peterson with Lab 5 for computer programming. For this lab, we were supposed to use our user inputs and interrupts. I'm not gonna lie, this lab gave me a lot of trouble trying to come up with the circuit and the programming. So to start off with, I have our Arduino here. Coming here, we have our pin 9 going from here to these. This connects to here, goes to the relay grounds out. We have the 5-volt connected right here, and then we have the 5-volt going to the relay that's going to be in the center, switching between the two sides. The ground is also coming off the Arduino from right here, coming here, going along the length of the board. That's why this is grounded. On this side of the relay, we have this wire coming to our first LED, grounding out, and then the second wire is coming from the relay to this LED, which is then grounding out. And then, yeah, the point that gave me the most trouble was making the button. So I have the 5-volt power coming from the breadboard to the button, going to the button, going to port or pin 2. That's what I use to read all of it, and then I have it going through the resistor and grounding out. So what I ended up doing is I made it so I can switch the relay sides by pressing or inputting 1 or 0 on my computer. So when I press 1, it switches. Go to 0, switches 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. Totally hands-free. So, and then for the second part of the lab was to make it so when you press the button, it pauses it so it stops going. So we'll see that when I press the button's pressed, I will type in a 1, nothing happens. 0, nothing happens. 1, 0. Just to prove it, come up here. And I even made it so it says pause, so we know that it's not going. Enter the 1, come down here. The light has not moved. If it was actually moving, this LED would be lit up right now. So coming over to the code, I used a bool state running. I set that as true because there's 2 states, the false or true. The integer relay command, I set that to pin 9. So that sets the relay command to pin 9. And I used the constant because this is always going to be constant throughout our code. Same with this constant input, or integer, I'm sorry. Interrupt pin 2, so that's what I used to get the data from the button. Then under the void setup, I have my pin modes. So I used to set the output, and then to make the pin interrupt the input pull up. So that inverts the pin. When it's high, there's no voltage. When it's low, there is voltage. Attached to interrupt, the digital pin to interrupt. So then the input pin, pause falling. So when the event occurs, it calls upon the specified function, which is the interrupt pin. And when it's falling, that means that when you push down and then release the button, that's when it starts actuating. And then we have the beginning of the serial monitor, which lets me see what's going on in our serial monitor over here. And then I have the enter 1 or 0, which prints that in the serial monitor to see. Void loops, I have my if state running. I go down to my if serial available. This checks for the connection between the Arduino and the computer. And then we have the character types. It's a serial read, so that allows the user interface and it listens to the data received. So if the 1 is typed, it sets the voltage as high. And if 0 is typed, set the voltage to low. And then I have my other void down here. It's voice pause. Under that, I have my run state that's set to false. And then I have my serial print to pause. So when the button is pressed, and it'll display paused in the serial print. And then it's how we know it's successfully paused.